Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kizer and Christensen Knife Works Mini Critical, a knife that I think a lot of people are pretty familiar with. Either way, I will have this linked right down below for you guys to check out if you want to. There are a few different variations, and there's also a variation in price. We'll talk about that. Thanks so much to Kizer for sending this in for me to take a look at. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this knife. Overall length is coming in at about 7 1/4? Yeah, 7 1/4. Blade length is coming in at 3 inches, and your cutting edge is coming in at about 2.85. How about just a few size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. It's closer to the size of the Rat 2. It's just got a little bit more height, a little bit more girthiness to it. I don't know why. I could have said that less creepy. How about up against the AD 20.5? Definitely a good size comparison there. How about up against the Benchmade Bug Out? There we go. And last but not least, let's put it up against the Spyderco Para 3. All right, how's the action on this guy? It's very good. It's what you'd expect from Kizer. This is not in their, this isn't in their, what I would consider to be their premium line, but it is a very well-made knife. It's running on bearings. The liner lock is pretty easy to disengage. You have a little bit of a, it's like the blade tang. It's not really a flipper tab. There's no flipper tab on this version, though there is a flipper version if you want to check it out. It'll be included in that link. This little tang area comes down, and you can use that actually to stop on your finger. It's very close to being a double clutch situation, but it's not. The detent ball is well up on the face of the, well, not well up, but it's up there on the face of the blade, so you should be able to disengage and get it to fall shut. The thumb studs are very well placed, and if you want to do the reverse flick, that's also easy. This is just an easy knife to manipulate. Not really anything special to say there. It's what you'd expect. It's what you want. Up against the, let's do thickness first. Carry profile. Up against the Spyderco Para 3, it's about exactly the same. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3, you can see here, this guy is, it's right around the same overall length as the Para 3, maybe a hair shorter. In terms of height, it's still nowhere near as tall as either of these guys, so it really shouldn't be that big of a deal dimensionally in the pocket. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. I believe there is some milling. Yeah, sorry. There it is right there. So there's some milling for weight reduction. For materials, in this case, we are looking at micarta. A little bit of aluminum here and there, which is kind of nice. It's a nice little touch. And 154 cm steel, which is, in my opinion, very, very good. Let's go ahead and weigh it. Overall weight of the Mini Critical coming in at about 3.67 ounces, which is pretty good considering we're looking at a 3-inch blade. Not perfect, but this isn't going to bother the majority of people who are interested in carrying it. If you're used to carrying super tiny lightweight knives, this might be a bit of an adjustment, but for most people, no big deal. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. T8 for the pivot, undoubtedly. Yeah, it's a T8, okay. And then also T8 for the body screws, which is great. T6 for the pocket clip, not that big of a deal. Minimal hardware, should be very easy to take apart, so that's great. How about we measure the blade stock thickness? Let me get out my calipers here real quick. There we go. Blade stock thickness on the Mini Critical is coming in at 116, probably closer to 115 thousandths. So that's nice. Nice, fairly thin blade stock for the geometry. So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes here. I mentioned in the unboxing that I very much like it. If you're gonna do a pivot collar, it's nice when it's big. Yes, it kind of looks like the Target logo, right? Or like somebody punched an octopus right in the eyeball. But I liked it. I like this because you can actually see it. Pivot collars sometimes are so small, it's like, yeah, this is just aluminum. Had it been much thinner, you would still be able to pick up on that red. But I like, Christensen Knife Works, they had another model where they did zircotie, and they did a super wide pivot collar, and I was like, hey, I can actually see this. That's cool. I kind of like this. I also like the contrast back here with the red backspacer. Yeah, you don't have to get one that's this you know, it's kind of like vintage meets like I don't know exactly how to describe this. It's like got some interesting futuristic elements, and then it's got this like vintage micarta look. It's a weird contrast, but I don't know, it's kind of cool, right? The micarta looks good. It's flat, no contouring. Edges are nicely chamfered down, and truthfully the ergonomics are nice. This pocket clip is very shallow, and it doesn't come up. Well, it does have a little bit of a tip on it. It doesn't come up very high. It's pretty shallow. Honestly, it's pretty comfortable. This isn't the most hand-melting experience I've ever had in my life, but it's pretty comfortable. Your pinky will be sliding a little bit off the end back here. It's okay. I can't call this a full four-finger grip because I'm really not, this kind of like water slide situation here, I'm really not gaining much traction there, but it's fairly comfortable. It's all right. Draw cuts, very easy to do, putting your finger up here, then pulling back. This blade shape is really good for just general day-to-day stuff. Access to the liner lock. Look at all that room. Thank you. God, it's so funny how so many companies mess that up. They're like, let's make the show side scale exactly the same height as the non-show side scale and make everyone pinch the absolute beans out of their thumb trying to disengage the liner lock. Yes, it's not that big of a deal, but you know what? No, it is a big deal. It's a big deal to me. It drives me insane. So thank you very much it's probably more so Christensen Knife Works for designing it this way. This is great. Cut it lower. That way we can approach that liner lock from the side and do this comfortably, right? As we flick it over and over and over again while we're on the couch watching Netflix. I know that's what you're doing. Don't lie about it. It's fine. That's what we are doing too. Even the guys who say that they're taking their knives out and taking apart their lawnmowers with their knives. They're not really. They're sitting on their couch flipping it over and over and over again as we watch this video. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on here. The thumb studs are slightly in the cutting path. You can see there it's about 1/4 inch, right? Most of your cuts are diagonal. It's not usually that you're cutting straight down, but if you do, right, if you do a power cut straight down, you're gonna run into that thumb stud. This guy's weird, isn't he? You're gonna run into that thumb stud, definitely. So you're gonna kind of have to go at an angle. Not that big of a deal, you know? Part of me wishes that there was like a forward choil here or something like that. There's a little area where you can, if you're brave, you can choke up, you know, put your index finger right here, but you're really gonna have to be cognizant about where your index finger is. You don't want it running up on that edge. But yeah, for the most part, very, very good. Kizer does an all right satin finish. I'm just, satin finishes, you know. They do an excellent tumbled finish, which, you know, if they have the option on this knife to go tumbled, I would do that. Kizer has one of the best tumbled finishes in the industry, especially in this price range. They do a nice high polish, a nice fine grain, like with the scratch marks, it's real fine. Looks great. I don't know why they don't do it on everything. I mean, at least, you know, if it's like, I didn't look close enough at the other available models to see if, you know, they had the stonewash finish available. If they do, go for that one. The satin finish is okay too if you're just like, oh gosh, I love satin finishes, right? The tumbled finish is going to show way less wear over time. Edges actually not all that sharp up here. That's kind of impressive. Down at the cutting edge, we are relatively thin. You can see the taper right there. This is a Wharncliffe style blade. At least that's what I'm going to call it. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it Wharncliffe, right? So your draw cuts, things like that, more of your utility style cutting tasks are going to be made very easy with this blade shape. Your slicing tasks, there's no belly, so you might get a little bit hung up there. It really just depends on what you're cutting. Overall, this is a fantastic blade shape for EDC with a fairly delicate tip. So, you know, don't like hammer in any nails or try to pry open any doors with this knife, or any folding knife for that matter. Outside of that, you should be okay. It says Kizer on one side, 154 cm, and then we have the Christensen Knife Works logo, which is great. They didn't put a whole lot of stuff all over it, and I really appreciate that. It looks nice. Moving on here, we have a lanyard hole right at the tail end of the lanyard, which is fine. It's still not being prioritized over the clip. The clip is mounted in a good spot, and this carries fairly deep. It's really, that's all the more of the knife you're going to see from your pocket. The pocket clip is simple, and it is just a stamped steel clip, but you know what? It looks good. It goes with the design, and it is not out of character for this price point, so I can't really be that mad at it. In fact, I actually really like it. You cannot mount it for left-handed carry. I don't know why they didn't just go ahead and drill 2 more holes here. Maybe they thought it would look bad. They probably should have. It's right hand only. It is a really shallow bill. If you have really thick pocket seams, like if you're wearing work pants, you might be fighting it, screwing around with it a little bit. For the most part, you should be okay. There is a stop pin located right here. It's black, so it's kind of hard to see, but there's an enormous amount of shouldering, very deep shouldering there. No blade play up, down, left, or right. Lockup is sitting at 65, 70% maybe, which is fine. No big deal. Nice engagement there. No lock stick. Honestly, a little bit of pivot lash. That kind of surprises me. I don't normally get that from Kizer. Is that a big deal? No. It's something that I check to see, like, are the tolerances on this thing really, really tight? What's happening here is the hole in the blade is cut just a little bit too big. There's just a little bit too much room you know, between the edges of it and the actual pivot barrel. It's not going to actually cause any issues. I just always like to have this feel, if I'm taking the blade and moving it this way, I like to feel that it's absolutely solid, and we're just a little tiny, just the slightest bit, but this is a little, kind of feels like maybe there's something in between the detent ball and the face of the blade. Honestly, I could probably just put a little bit of 10-weight nano oil in this bad boy and it'll be just fine. Let's give it a shot. This is extremely recommendable stuff. It'll improve the edge. This has almost never failed to improve the action of any knife. One little drop on the detent ball and it will usually make all the difference in the world just after, you know, like 5 to 10 or so flips. Yep, it's gone. I loved 10-weight nano oil is just freaking awesome. Thank you, Nick Shabazz, for introducing me and a lot of other people in the knife world to that stuff. I'm sure he wasn't the first, but that's the first time I heard of it. And now I tell everybody about it. But yeah, it was fine. I think there was just a little bit of debris in there. Sometimes you just got to clean off that detent ball path. A lot of people think it's the bearings. It's usually, in my experience, it's the detent ball or the detent ball path. That's the problem. So this is fine now. No big deal. Detent is good. I'll give you a look at that. Click. That's what I like to see. And perfect centering with no detent lash. Okay, so it's a good design. It's not anything new, right? It has that Christensen Knife Works look to it, which I appreciate. I think fans of that brand will really enjoy this. Kizer has great manufacturing quality, and they did most of the things that you want here right? It's hard to say that this in particular is going to massively stand out, you know, in a sea of other things that are fairly similar to it. But you know, if you like this, I think this is a good design for the most part. What's weird is that I went to Blade HQ and found that this guy was $75, which I thought, okay, that's fair. And then they have a whole other, they got 3 other versions of it that are, 2 of them are flippers and one of them is another thumb stud opener. Basically no difference. And they're like, yeah, these are $99. Why? Why? Kizer, Christensen Knife Works, Blade HQ, why are those $25 more? I'm sorry, $24. No. Yeah, $24 more. Why? Explain. At $100, I don't even want to say okay. It just makes me mad. Like this one that they sent me, this is obviously new, is they're like $75 for this guy, $100 for the other. Why? What's special about those? Everything is the same, unless I'm missing something. If you love this knife and the only ones you have available to you are the ones that are about $100, it's okay, right? Kizer is one of those companies that is competing in that territory, and there are not a lot of other fantastic choices. Are there other choices? Yes. Are there like a bajillion, right? I mean, like, let's talk about the $50 knife territory. Holy crap, that is a mud storm with barbed wire and hot sauce. That is a freaking mess. It is so competitive, right? The $200 price point, competitive. $250, $300, competitive. For some reason, the $100 territory, not really. It's weird, right? It's like knife companies can't figure out what to do there. So it's kind of, but the competition there is also, if you can get this for $75, fantastic. Generally speaking, though, this is a recommendable knife. I'm hesitant to put it in my cheap knives I like playlist because the least expensive version of this is inexplicably $25 cheaper than the other ones that were readily available. So, I don't know. I mean, but yeah, generally speaking, this is one of those knives I can pretty much recommend to anybody, if they can choke down the price tag if they have to, right? It's not the most offensive thing in the world, but Kizer makes excellent stuff at this $60, $70, $80 territory, and that's kind of, the materials here, right? Like, that's all real, like the overall quality, execution, and the materials, it's all kind of screaming 75 to me. So, yeah. 99, not the worst thing in the world, definitely not the best. 75, good to go. That's really all I have to say about this knife. I can't believe I made a 15-minute review out of this, but I did. Thanks again to Kizer for sending this in. This is likely a knife that I will give away on a live stream, so there you go. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.